Hi everyone, my name is Siamak and this is my geosynthetics podcast. In this episode, I have a guest from my home country, Iran. Reza Ashkbusi is my guest today. Hi Reza, good morning in Tehran this morning for you, and glad to see you again. Welcome to my podcast, and thanks for talking to me and my audience today.
First of all, I want to say hello to everybody and thank you, Siamak, for this conversation. It's my honor that I'm speaking and have a conversation with my old friend Siamak, and I am ready to describe myself and start this podcast.
Perfect. Now, Reza, I know you maybe for around 20 years now. We used to travel a lot when we were young and free, and now we are in two different parts of the world. So I want to start with your career, Reza. I know about your career in geosynthetics especially. I just want to know where everything started, when was it, and how did you end up in geosynthetics?
I was first introduced with geosynthetic in during period time of studying in university. We have a foundation engineering course in Master of Science in Geoengineering, and I have a master that he is speaking about the very new method and state of art in geotechnical engineering with the name of geosynthetic. Geosynthetic was a very new and very motivating item in civil engineering on that days, and I started to learning, studying, and after that working on geosynthetic. I think more than 20 years ago. Uh, After graduation from geoengineering course, I focused on geosynthetic, especially in designing, installation, and selling the material in Iranian market and then in Middle East markets.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. So you've been involved with the geosynthetics industry in Iran and in the Middle East for almost 20 years. My second question for you is about the history of geosynthetics, specifically in Iran, and now that you have experience in other countries in the Middle East. I want you to tell us about a little bit about the history, when the material started coming to those areas, and what applications are normally these materials are being used for.
The history of geosynthetics it should be divided to modern and ancient times. Iran and Persia is a very old country, and we have some historical monuments and some historical traces about using some wheat, some palm items for making some revetments and sea walls. We have the traces of this first application of geosynthetic, not geosynthetic, the reinforcement items in southeast of Iran in Khuzestan province, and it dated back to more than I'm not sure, but it dated back to more than 3,000 years ago. And also we have some pyramid shapes in Iran with the name of ziggurat. That the ziggurat is reinforced with some palm items, palm and wheat for reinforcing the layer and reinforcing the soil for increasing the slope of the structure. But in modern time, the story will begin in I think 1976. It's the first application of geomembrane. I think in the Middle East is located in a Hiplich Lagoon in center of Iran, in a mine, in the copper mine of Sarcheshme, and the geomembrane is used for protection and environmental protection of the land from contamination of ore materials. After that, there was a gap, I think 20 years gap, and 25 years ago, the golden age of application of geosynthetic started in Iran. Many companies started to taking agency from famous brands and started engineering, procurement, and construction geosynthetic project in Iran. I should say that, for example, we have a project with concrete mattress related to 25 years ago, and it is still working and located in the border of Iran and Azerbaijan in Aras River, and the people are enjoying from use of geosynthetic in revetment and river mattress.
Perfect. No, that's very exciting actually. Some of that is new to me as well. So I think you mentioned about the golden age of the geosynthetics around 25 years ago, and that's probably around the time that you joined this industry. So my next question is about the current status. Now, fast forward 20 years, now you're working still in this industry. You have been active in the geosynthetics industry in Iran and in the Middle East. I want to know where do you think the market is going, or the industry, how is it developing? The current status. That's my next question.
In these 20 years, the early years of this golden age, we had the problem for starting and designing many projects, because there was a lack of knowledge of geosynthetic in Iran, and our famous companies, we have an agent of very famous companies, they help us in engineering, and in this regard, we have many trips and many conversations with the very well-known scientists and international experts, and many engineers train and learn geosynthetics in Iran. After these days, the engineering system of geosynthetic developed, and many engineers now are working in the design, especially in retaining wall design and hydraulic project design. Now we have domestic engineer to design everything, and it's a very good good thing for international and Middle East countries, that we have many good engineers for designing their project across the world. I should say to you that we have many projects in Iraq, Afghanistan, that we are designing now this project, the geosynthetic project. About the procurement of the project, procurement of geosynthetic, I should say to you, we have domestic manufacture of each item of geosynthetic in Iran. For example, in geomembrane, we have 8 manufacture in Iran now. In geogrid, in geotextile, and we have manufacture, and they are making the geosynthetic, and they are exporting the geosynthetic to neighboring countries. In this regard, there is a very good news for Middle East countries, because Iran is a oil and gas rich country, and the price of geosynthetics is much lower than some other countries. We say now Iran is a hub of geosynthetic in the Middle East, and we are trying to export our product to neighboring countries now. And also about the installation of geosynthetics, we developed some welders, for installation of the geomembrane, you need some extruder, welding machine, and something like this. These machines, we have the domestic machines in Iran. with a very low price, and we are exporting this machine, and we are exporting our installation team to neighboring countries. About the Iranian project in the country, we have some problem in connecting with international expert now, and connecting with international brand for increasing the knowledge of manufacturers.
Sure. That's actually very interesting to me to hear about manufacturing of geosynthetics in Iran, and like you said, the prices can be a lot more cost efficient because of the resources available. So my next question will be about the future. So what do you think, what do you see in the horizon for geosynthetics industry? I think myself and my audience know about some of the limitations that Iran specifically may have in this area, but I want to hear it from you. What do you see in that future for the geosynthetics industry in Iran?
I'm so optimistic person for the future. You know me. In early time of the geosynthetics, we have many big challenges with the contractor and clients that they said to us. For example, I had a meeting with some clients that they said that it's better you change your job. I said what? They said that the geogrid is not working good, and the metallic ribs are very good to work, and they are cheaper than the geogrids. Now these persons are our main clients now, and they are asking supplying the geogrid for their walls and for the reinforcement. It dated back to more than 15 years ago. About the future, I think it's the geosynthetic industry in Iran have been a bright future with some conditions. We need to increase our design knowledge with connecting to the world. We have the problem in Iran now, and the connection between international experts is in a very low state. I have been the secretary of IGS chapter for more than 6 years, and even yet we don't have any ambassador of IGS in Iran. We didn't have. We tried to invite this person to be in Iran and share their experience, but we have some problem. In these days, with the electronic devices, we are trying to connect with each other with mobiles, and we are in a very better situation because the technical experts and international experts tend to share their experience with us. I have a good news. For the first time, we will have in the chapter of IGS, we will have a webinar with an international expert in Iran in this item, and we are trying, for the bright future, we are trying to connect to the world. And also, another condition for a good future is a standardization of our product, and increasing the quality of the product. The companies, many companies are producing geosynthetic in Iran now, but some of them are not working with world standards, and we are trying as a activist of geosynthetic in Iran to increase their standard and quality. For exporting our product, we need international quality. It's very important. We have many projects in Iraq, and we have many problems for passing the quality, international qualities, and we are trying to compete with our Middle East competitor in this project.
Cool. No, that's very exciting to hear about the future, and I think the new way of connecting is webinars, and that's what we do here in Australia and everyone else I think around the world. I had that flyer from Professor Ji Han that is speaking in one of the webinars in the near future for the Iranian chapter, which is a very good news. So my last question, Reza, I know you for 20 years, and I know like ups and downs that you've gone through, specifically in the geosynthetics industry. I want to know, what is your highlight? One thing that you always remember. If it's one or maybe more than one, I really want to hear that highlight, and why do you think that is your highlight?
My highlight in geosynthetic is related to geotextile tube application, the first application of geotextile tube in Caspian Sea. We have many training period in Netherlands, in some Arabian countries, for learning how we can install a geotextile tube unit in a sea. And on that time, we don't have anything for filling the geotextile tubes. We made a dredging machine with our own hands, and we installed this unit, only one unit. I say to you, in Mahmoudabad city for the first time, and the length was 20 meter, and the height was 2.5. When I filled the first geotube unit in Caspian Sea, we had a party on base of the geotube, and I remember it was a very good time and very highlight for me. After that, many of my friends, many of my colleagues, they say that geotextile tube is not working in Iran.
Yeah.
But two or 3 years after 2 or 3 years, we had the project. I think 200 units of geotextile tube again in Caspian Sea, and it was a very highlight to me. And another highlight for me was the first application and installation of concrete mattress in Iraq. You know, with a Persian cruise. The depth was 4 meters, and the divers had many difficulties for filling the concrete mattress under the water. After we filled the first units, it was a honor to me that I'm installing the first concrete mattress in Iraq, and in a this place that we installed in Iraq was a very ancient place, and the first application of sea walls was there. And again, after 3,000 years, we installed again. And the Iraqi people were so happy, and I was so happy. These two highlights after was a very exciting thing for me in these 20 years.
Absolutely. Now I can exactly feel how you must have been so proud of the project and the achievement you had. So very significant. And I really want to congratulate you on being an activist and one of the loyal people in the geosynthetics industry in that part of the world. Great achievement for yourself and the team around you. So the main reason I wanted to have this conversation between us now is to show my audience, what is happening in that part of the world, and we definitely want to hear more from you guys. So thank you very much for your time, and I really enjoyed this conversation. Hope my audience enjoyed it too, and we catch you later. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks.